Hey y'all, it's Renegayde, and it's time to spill more Reali-Tea on all things RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 10. The Tournament of All-Stars is officially underway, so make sure you like and subscribe for more, as you're not going to want to miss a single drop of content this season. On this podcast, we're going to be discussing our third and final competition episode for our Orange Bracket Queens, as a Hoop Queens makeover, and one final point ceremony determines our first three queens moving on to the semi-finals. Also, make sure you stay to the end to get some real tea as we discuss all of the latest internet gossip, rumors, and speculation. But before we begin, let me introduce my co-host, and you better keep those balls away from his face. It's QuackrrJack. Jack, just like that, we are already done with one bracket of queens. Are we still enjoying the format now that we've got a taste of how things are, or what's to come here?
I so far like the format. I do see plenty of room for improvement, but I think trying this, it's always going to take a couple times to get it right. I really enjoy this first group. I think we all got the results we wanted. I don't think anyone can say anything about the results or it being rigged or anything like that because nothing feels out of place. The most out of place thing right now to me is the 4 extra points and how that is a bigger deal than what it should be, in my opinion. But we can get
Yeah,
into that later.
I mean, we did kind of see how these point ceremonies, I guess, that's what they've been called officially, so that's what we're gonna call them now. How they definitely can kind of shake up the game here. But I definitely kind of agree with you. I think the format seems to be the most fair. It seems like a pretty good balance, of the non-elimination format mixed with them having, smaller groups. And I haven't had an issue with it here. Um, they did bring up something at the end of the episode here, which we'll talk about at the end in our real tea segment, that does make me very questionable about what's going to happen in these last three episodes, but I'm going to try and enjoy the process until we get there. Especially because, this orange bracket, I feel like they gave us a good taste of what type of drama we could kind of get out of this format. So, no reason to kind of wait around here. We can kind of just jump into the drama and we can kind of pick up where we started last week here. Because we got some shenanigans right away to talk about, and it's probably going to make up, I think, a big portion of probably what we're going to talk about here today. Because
Goodness.
um, let's figure out where we were with the points here. Yeah. So what Bosco and Irene had just won the last challenge. They're in the lead with 4 points, with Aja right behind with three, and then we have Deja, Skye, Olivia Lux, and Phoenix tied with one. But Aja, Deja, Olivia, and Phoenix all had their participation points to give away, and we kind of assumed, just based off of initial confessionals here, that Aja and Olivia were likely going to give each other the point, being that they had the alliance that they valued most within each other here. But things started to get really sketchy right away because no girl wanted to step up first and be the first one to give their point away. Um, that's when they kind of all were throwing around who should kind of go first and for what reason. And I think it was Deja that ultimately landed that Aja should go first because she has the most points. So Aja steps up and was like, okay, fine. She honors her alliance and gives her point to Olivia. Phoenix decides to go next and gives her point to Deja, since she relates to the struggle Deja had in the last episode about being in her head, since she was in her head the first episode. So you can kind of see what she was going for there, probably trying to get, if Aja and Olivia are going to be, you know, exchanging points, then maybe she could go to Deja and have a point from Deja. So I understand that strategy, why she gave her to Deja. But
Definitely.
everything starts to go left here when Olivia, who is playing the game, and I can't fault her for playing the game. We can't blame her, because at the end of the game, or at the end of the day, I'm happy someone is playing a self-interested game. But I was gagged here when she decided to give her point to Deja instead of back to Aja, which we kind of saw at the first ceremony when they were reciprocating points. She's like, no, I'm going to give it to Deja because of the Melanin Alliance. And I was like, oop. And then at that point, I was kind of with Aja there too. But I was tracking Aja too because I was like, okay, well, if the three of them are aligned, maybe Dasha or Deja really is going to give her point to Aja, and the three of them will kind of just share points. Oh no, Deja gags not only Aja, but Phoenix as well by giving her point to Olivia, and all of a sudden, Miss Deja and Miss Olivia, who have not won a challenge whatsoever this whole time, are now tied with Aja at 3 points, who, mind you, has at least won the first challenge. So, and also here, Phoenix didn't get a point from anybody, so she's now in dead last with 1 point. Olivia tries to say they're all in this together, and if they're all together, then really they should all have the best chance at getting, together to the end, which I agree with on one point, but what I didn't like was the fact that it didn't seem like this was a discussion they had beforehand, that they should all kind of be equal, because Aja is definitely gooped and gagged because of all of this. Um, and I've seen a lot of divide here, Jack, of how people have kind of reacted to Aja and Olivia in this situation, because obviously there's the people that think a lot Olivia is the villain here, being the fact that she kind of, made the move first, but people are kind of clocking on Aja for how she reacted and just calling out all of Olivia's alliances in front of everybody the next day in the workroom. Um, I kind of want to know your opinion here, Jack. Even though everything was kind of resolved by the end of this episode, were you Team Aja in this moment, or were you Team Olivia?
Team Aja, obviously. And I think to go Team Olivia is very hypocritical because in that idea of self-interest, it's self-interest, sure. So why is it wrong for Aja then to be self-interested and talk shit on Olivia real quick and let everyone know what the tea is with her? Because if you're going to talk about self-interest, then my self-interest would be to expose you and let everyone know that you're not playing a fair game,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So I don't understand why anyone thinks it's wrong of Aja. I think that's hypocritical. But I'm also very upset with Olivia because clearly she doesn't really want what's best for everyone, and she can play that whole storyline, whatever she wants. But she's her fake self that she was in season 13 when I called it out then, and I'm gonna keep it real now. Look, my whole thing is, and debate me if you want, hate me if you want, whatever, don't care. The point is, Olivia was fake then, trying to put on this character. Olivia is being real fake now, and it's coming across very unrelatable because she's putting on another character, and she's trying to make us believe that she has gotten rid of this idea of like, oh, I had to be someone for this instead of myself. She's still not herself. Let's not act like she is, right? Like, come on, keep it 100. Like, she's not in any way, shape, or form giving me genuineness. And I know people are gonna be mad about that. Whatever, you're Olivia Stan, go for it, but it didn't make any sense. She had even asked Aja, like, well, are you going to give me your point before the challenge results were in? And Aja was like, well, I don't know, because, like, what if you're in the top and you didn't give me your point, even though I was the winner of last week's? Which is a fair point, because that's true. Olivia said, I would rather keep the peace for a week, give everyone their points, and I think it was Aja who brought it up in last week, right? When she's like, "Are we all going to keep this the same if I'm not in the top?" kind of thing. I think she was the one that said that. I can't remember exactly who said that, but I was like, "Well, apparently we are not all going to be good Judies to each other right now. Apparently, we do all have very different self interests in this moment." So I just felt like Olivia was just playing the game to try to get herself further, and she didn't care if she had to step on the neck of her bestie or whatnot, because I don't believe for a second that she didn't know what she was doing. I think it was calculated, I think it was manipulative, and I think she knew exactly what she was doing. And I don't want no boohoo tears from this girl who thinks that she can get away with, like, I don't know, making a contract with the devil or something. I think she don't got to pay no price.
I
Like, she was like the
mean,
girl who hit. She was the girl who cried wolf kind of thing. Like, no, I'm
mhm.
good. Bye.
I do have to laugh too as well. If you kind of go into Twitter here as well, Olivia later changed her name to Olivia Backstabber Lux. And this tweet, I want to talk about this tweet too, because this tweet that she put out, I'm just like, girl, why are you going so hard? Like it when she says here, a letter to my haters, calling me unlikable and unrelatable. Makes complete sense. You could never relate to me. I'm a luxury, and you wouldn't understand luxury even if it crawled through your outdated, cracked Android phone screen and kissed you on your wrinkled forehead. I'm just like, this is why? Why are we like trying to heel turn so hard? And then like, I don't know, it just feels like we're doubling down on something that is like a narrative that doesn't feel like you're right. It doesn't feel genuine, right? And like I said, it feels one way if like she had this conversation with Aja beforehand that they were going to split the points. They might have. We didn't see that, and I just don't feel like based off of Aja's reaction that that's what we saw. So clearly, we're missing something there. And also going to Roscoe's and looking into this a little bit more, I'm a little kind of confused by what Deja said there that she was completely unaware that Aja and Olivia had an alliance. I'm thinking maybe that Deja was unaware that how close Olivia and Aja's part of the alliance were because it was very clear that the three of them did have melanation station going on. So I don't know. I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, I like the fact that she's trying to own it, but it just feels like she's just attacking people now versus actually, really owning it. It still feels like an act, you're right. And it's just it really is a level of genuineness that I did not get from Olivia this season, and it felt like even worse and kind of like I said, completely heel turned, but without like the depth to the actual like heel turn. Like Susie too got much more depth in her arc in her one season than Olivia has in both these two seasons with her heel turn. So I don't know. Um, did you want to talk any more about this before we move on to one last subject here?
I mean, okay, look, I want to just say with that tweet, I had saw that tweet. I was okay with like, the first part of the message, like to my haters, to anyone who thinks I'm not this or that, like whatever. I was fine with that. I would have been so cool with that. But I think the part that really got it for me was her trying to talk herself up, like she was this great thing, and then she made like a kind of classist remark about about having people who have like an Android with a cracked phone. Because I was like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like you are proving everything that I, as one of your haters, said is correct. Like if I say something hateful, I say it, right? And I stay on it. But I don't need to hide behind this idea that like someone else wasn't wasn't like coming to the way it was because of a different like I guess brand of phone they have or anything like that. Like it was so wild that she wanted to call people out and then did it in such an unattractive way, I would say. Like it was nasty in a way that was like, this is what like you knew how it wasn't real was because of how you worded this. I feel like most people when they talk and they want to really express their point that they like dislike something, they keep it with the facts, they keep it like genuine. She's like, I really felt this way. Like she should have stayed on her platform of I wanted to guarantee that at least one girl with melanin like got through because what didn't make sense to me was you didn't give your point to Aja, even though you had a Mimu alliance, which you said was above the girls of I guess technically the Melanin alliance that she had with Deja and Aja, and so it's fine that Deja didn't know about the Mimu situation, right? Like that's fair because maybe Deja's not that close with them to know all about their inner workings from back home, but to now have been given 2 points in one episode by both of them is crazy, right? This episode alone, we see Aja and Phoenix both snubbed. They both get 2 points. So now Aja not only won 2 points from winning, she also won the lip sync, got herself the 3 points. So she's only tied with these two because they essentially made everyone else go first. And then they said, okay, let's do this now. Deja, I don't know that was necessarily like in on this whole idea, but I think Deja most so took like the backseat of like, well, if Olivia's getting like if Olivia's gonna not give Aja the point and gonna give me a point, I give her back a point. And she's like, I could give it to Aja, but then I'd still be doing Phoenix dirty. I could give it to Phoenix, but then I'd be looking like I was doing Aja and Olivia dirty. So she felt like there was really no winning here, at least in that section. And I don't think it was as bad on Deja's part because it didn't feel so calculated as much as it was like Deja had to pick at this moment, and Aja had not given Deja a point at this point, right? Like, so with Deja, it was like she really had to pick out of two people. And when you look at it, like, she's gotten points from Olivia twice, so it's like she had to make that choice. And I
Yeah.
think she was about that, but I think Olivia wasn't caring about making sure that someone from the Melanin Alliance got through. She was just making sure, oh, my ass is going to be covered. And that's where I
Mhm.
think the big difference is here. And I think for people who are not understanding this viewpoint, you really have to get in this mindset of like, who is this benefiting? Because in my mind, Olivia would have given her point to Aja, and then Deja would have had the choice to either, do I give it to Olivia or Aja, or do I give it to Phoenix? And then it could have been, oh, we all playing safe, blah blah blah, like you did the first round, because clearly wheels were turning and it wasn't like that. And that's
Right.
the big issue here. Like, so we should have seen, if it was like quote unquote fair, we should have seen Deja with two, Olivia with two, Aja with four, Phoenix with two, or Deja with two, Olivia with three, etc. Like one of the two. But I think Olivia didn't want Aja to get further ahead of her than she already was. And I think that's what it was at the end of the day.
Oh, for
And
sure.
I'm always uncomfortable about that with people because I'm like, choose your friends wisely. Just saying.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like, I understand from Olivia's point of view, but like I said, it could have been, it's just as easy as having a conversation and being like, hey, Aja, if we're really in this together, then we need to be working together instead of just kind of going behind and using the order to your advantage, you know? And I think that I do think that's the part that doesn't sit well with me really either. Um, Another part that I think that it kind of really sucks here, and I think she had a attempt to kind of spell it out. This episode was the fact that Phoenix kind of realized that she was pretty much, kind of out of it, unfortunately. And she kind of realized that like unless she had like a big, huge performance, then this episode really could probably maybe be the last for her here. And I don't really kind of understand why she was so surprised that alliances were, coming into play in this season. I mean, it's season 10 of All Stars. They were doing, I mean, Alaska Talk season 2, y'all. Come on now. So I do just have to wonder though, because I kind of want to talk from her perspective a little bit. Like I said, because she's literally in dead last with 1 point. What do you possibly kind of do in her perspective here? Is the goal here now to just kind of like possibly go for broke, do your best here in this last challenge, possibly win the lip sync, and maybe you could be Shea Coulee in the last second and get a tiebreaker win here, or like at this point, do you just think it's just let me just go ahead and try to assist the people I like to get further because clearly I don't. Well, I mean, if that's the case, nobody gave her points. So, like, how are you going to be reacting to all these girls around her? It seems clear at this point she liked Bosco the most, but Bosco's also winning, so Bosco's not going to be involved in politics. Do you think Phoenix really had any sort of chance in this episode to make any sort of comeback here?
The only chance Phoenix had was if that bullshit point thing didn't happen first. And so then the idea in her head was, the only thing I can do is kill the makeover, get in the top two, and win the lip sync. And then I would be at 4 points, which would tie me up there with the other two girls who are currently at 4 points, and hope that the 4 points that then get delivered at the end do not screw me out of a spot in the final three. Yes, there was a technical possible path for Phoenix, but it was so difficult to have happen. You had to have every single thing go right for you. And I just don't know if that was ever going to happen, unfortunately. And I think Phoenix herself really gave it her best shot here. I just don't think that she was coming prepared for this kind of an All Star season. I think she was coming for a normal, like, All Stars 6, All Stars 4 kind of thing. I don't think she was coming for an All Stars tournament season. I don't think she was ready for that immediately.
Yeah, because really you have to kind of come in and hit it hard right from the jump. There's no real like warming up. And I think it took Phoenix a little bit to kind of get into that comfort zone, being that she hadn't really done this before. I mean, she competed just as many episodes this season that she did last season. Um, well, actually, one more episode now. So,
Right.
um, yeah, I feel for Phoenix. I really was kind of hoping for a different trajectory for her, but she did kind of get screwed a little bit based off of how the points were distributed. I don't think again that was necessarily anything that was against Phoenix, but like I said, you do have to play the game. You kind of have to know what you're getting into here. So, um, Speaking of playing the game, this whole episode was all about my favorite thing in the world, sports ball. We love sports, right, Jack? We love sports.
Girl, I was literally RuPaul in that moment where she was running away from the ball after she tried to dunk it on him. I was like, girl, I can't do it. Like, get me out of there, coach. I'm not good.
I was kind of here for Rue's personality this episode. Like she feels very playful this season, right? Like she's given a little bit here or there. Like that whole like let me throw the ball up and then like we would I feel like we would hardly ever see that out of her recently. So um she feels like she's awake. She's having her coffee enema this season. Um
Well, maybe.
Well, let's see here. We have the mini challenge next, so they end up going into a room here, and I gotta say here, initially I was a little bit worried about this when we walked in here, because I think on the preview we only saw like half of the girls here, but it turns out there's six, so each of the girls is gonna have their own college basketball player to make over for the Maxi Challenge. And in order for them to decide how this is going to go down, they're going to have a free throws competition. And no surprise here, Irene, just the competitive beast that she is, demolishes this challenge, gets 8 in 60 seconds. I don't know how many I would be able to get. I don't know. It's been a hot minute since I played basketball. The surprise for me though was Bosco. Like Bosco was just like just kind of throwing those in with the nails on too, and I was like, ooh, and she looked like good doing it. Like I feel like Bosco plays a lot of basketball for some reason, or she just looks maybe effortless in everything she does. I don't know. Uh, did you want to talk about this at all?
Girl, no, it did not matter to me. The most interesting thing that happened was like, we're gonna play basketball to decide who gets what. And I was like, interesting mini challenge. I don't think anyone necessarily came in with the idea that they would have to do any kind of sports ball for, winning. So I was like, okay, like go for it. Let's see how it goes.
It's kind of cute. Like it was giving me like the dunking challenge from like season three, like when they had like no money and they just had like, you know, whatever they had on set to to make a challenge off of. I thought it was fun. I don't know. Um, but so anyways, Irene wins, continues her undefeated streak in the mini challenges and basically in this competition at this point outside lip syncs. She decides to play it fair with the pairings, and that's kind of that. I know the makeover challenge concept in general is just pretty questionable. But did you like this version at all of them having to do it with the college basketball player angle and the fact that they also had to do a little bit of a verse with a performance behind it to the song Shoot Your Shot? Did you enjoy this concept at all?
No. And let me tell you why. It's not just no. I will give you the reasons. A, I don't like the makeover. You know how things can be done dirty in a makeover. But B, did it even feel like the performance or the verse or anything mattered, or did it really just feel like it was just on the assignment of what happened with the drag family resemblance look? And also, based on what the girls gave us, I don't think I wanted it to come in any way, shape, or form because I feel like the two girls who ended up at the top did so much of a better job than any of the other girls that I wouldn't want the performance or anything else to like calculate in because then I'd be like, well, what's the point of a makeover if it's really about making a verse or a lyric? Like, it didn't make sense to me. I thought it was just too and way too much, but like maybe they didn't have enough content. In reality, they could have just played up more about like this distrust between Olivia and Aja. They could have talked about the weird position that Phoenix is in. They could have talked about how Deja is watching from the side. She's just spraying the wig with the hair glue without the wig actually on the human head, just to be like the nosy neighbor. I want to see more of those interactions. I want to see what Irene has to say.
Yeah,
Specifically, I want to
Irene
see what
wasn't
Irene
really in this
and
episode,
Aja.
actually. Irene was actually very edited to just like very like factual information this episode. Like I felt like I didn't get much personality from Irene this episode. It's kind of weird. Um, but yeah, I mean, one thing I did like, especially after like season 17, like their makeover challenge felt like it was a good emotional episode, but it felt very heavy, right? I'm glad in this situation it was just kind of like young girls who clearly don't have too much trauma here. We're not. This is not going for the Emmy here. Rue is not getting his daily feast of young problems in order to live here. The IV is not full at this moment. The trauma drama is fine. But it did feel a little bit on the opposite end where it was like a little pointless. And I just
Yeah.
don't know if I really. I mean, maybe there are young girls out there that are connecting to this, which I mean, all for them. That's cool. Um, but this is like when Survivor does like the little kid content. It's clearly not made for me. So, um, yeah. I will say though, I did like the fact that that one girl did shave her eyebrows. I was like, okay, that's cool.
You could barely see her eyebrows when they
I
weren't, so
mean,
I was
true,
like,
true,
sure,
true.
go for it, whatever.
Very true. But I mean, she did do it. And I will say I
Yeah.
did like the contrast between like the younger and the older sister, the way the fact that like the older sister just felt like so excited to be there and the younger sister just felt like either that she didn't want to be there or she wanted to be there but she was terrified out of her mind. Um
Hmm.
I liked the contrast there. I thought that was funny. But like I mean, other than that, like I don't know if I really have too much to say outside of anything that we haven't already talked about here. I felt like all the drama was really at the start of the episode. The rest of the episode was kind of who's going to win the episode, and then how are these points going to go down here? Because I mean, Aja and Olivia end up coming to terms to their thing, and then we get kind of on with it. So, do you have anything you wanted to say about the girls here at all?
No, let's get to that goddamn runway.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely your favorite time of the podcast here. So let's get to the runway rundown. And of course, this week, since our maxi challenge is our runway, the category is drag family resemblance, which apparently this season for Michelle Visage meant looking similar but not as exact twins, which I had to laugh when guest judge Kate Beckinsale just kind of calls Michelle out for that. But Jack, let's get to your standouts for the week here and talk about the girls.
All right, standouts. I think one of the things that was like the most telling in the edit, especially, was when Irene put her girl in part of the outfit and she was like, I don't know how I feel about being a clown or whatever. But we saw her and she came out in something and I was like, not sure how this is gonna work. But when you saw them on the runway, you said, oh, bitch, she ate. For all the people out there that loved Susie Toot, this is what Susie Toot tried to do on season 17
Ooh,
but failed to do. This is what a good clown would give you. It's not just one thing with a little balloon. Like, it's not just a bodysuit, baby. Like, it was just a bodysuit with a nasty, used, stained linen on the headpiece. Girl, that shit was trash. And the neck, I was like, oh, the placement. Poor. Poor, poor, poor. This, though, baby, Irene said, let me show you once again, I am the alien. So we're gonna do my drag family resemblance because she's part of my drag family. I am not afraid to be a clown, to look a goddamn mess, to like show the girls what it is, but still serve glamour. And this is what that was. These girls did not look identical, but you knew they were related 100%. I especially loved that the collar of her partner and her like little tutu moment were very similar, and it kind of like reversed in certain aspects of their outfit. And instead the other girl's tutu and her like sleeves and like arm parts were very similar as well. So I was like, this is interesting because this is like, I can see that you both come from the same place but are clearly not the same person. This was the standout of the week for me. I don't think there was anyone who could complain or say that Irene was not deserving of a third win in a row. This girl gave it everything and more. I want to give that kudos to Irene. This girl was never given her spot on this stage, and if she don't make top four at this point, bitch, I don't want to see the top four right now. I'm
ooh.
just saying. I'm just saying. Now that being said, Bosco has to be said because she had such a great look. I think what it really came down to was, yes, these were dresses. They had little capes or little things on them or whatever, and the hair was nice. And maybe there was a little bit of lack of family resemblance, but the bitch looked good. And constantly, I think both of them looked good. Maybe you could have said, well, they're not so much family resemblance as they are like maybe friends. I could have seen that, but I just think the makeover really needs to be about really giving that girl the vibe. And I really felt like her girl was up and like she was going for it, right? Like she made her girl look amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Now,
there was a lot of details though. Like if you look at like the wig,
Mm-hmm.
And the painting as well too. The painting is very, very similar to Bosco, and the
Correct.
hair is also very similar as well too, in that it shares a lot of the same color palette. And initially, I was one of those people that was kind of like, I don't know, but like they could be friends, but I think a lot of that just comes down to the fact that they have different complexions. That's literally all it is the skin tones. Because like literally, the closer you get in, the more you really see the details and just how good of a job Bosco did on this makeover. So, um, yeah, it definitely two standouts here for the week. But let's talk about the other girls here as well, Jack.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the standouts as well that weren't standing out for the right reasons. My first one was Deja Skye. The moment that I saw you come on this runway, and I live for Deja. I love Deja. The moment she turned the corner, I was ready to get up on there and like fight with her immediately. I was like, "You had this moment. How dare you waste that fucking 4 points you got, girl? Dare you?" Like, like she came around that look.
Yeah.
I was like, like, and I'm gonna tell you something. I love a gaudy ass shoe kind of thing, or just a messy ass shoe. Their shoes did not match in the slightest. The one girl had the
No.
biggest heel pump I've ever seen, like on a girl ever. And then Deja had on the small kind of heels. I was like, hers is silver, hers is yellow, and I was like, I'm okay with two different colors. Look at Bosco. It was like fire and ice or fire and water. I could see that. It was cool, whatever. But this, like,
They had a similar concept in the outfits, and I
I don't even know
I
if I'd
kind
go
of
that far, girl.
understand. Well, I meant Bosco and
Oh
this
yeah,
Vancouver girl
yeah,
had
yeah.
a similar concept in the outfit. Like Deja and like other than the fact that like maybe there's like that part that kind of like droops a little bit between the two, like
It
the from
does.
the like there's no sort of cohesion at all to these outfits
This
whatsoever
was
at
like these
all.
two girls went to the same store. And one girl was trying to be very matchy matchy, and one girl was like, "Let me give you different pops of color everywhere." And I think I'm a little bit more of a fan of the pops of color everywhere because like I kind of like some gaudy shit. But black hair, okay, we got into it. The black hair, big black hair, sparkling, very bright green dress into the immediately bright yellow shoe
It's a
was
lot.
like,
It's a
wow.
lot.
And then Deja was like, "I'm muted." And then I have a little bit of pink and a muted shoe. And I was like, wait a damn minute. Her shoe is silvery and it looks like it just matches the beading or whatever on her outfit. And I was like, and I'm not mad about this look specifically. Like, you could do this look at like the show. If this is your second number or something, just throw this one on. It's an easy transition kind of thing, right? But this is not an outfit that you bring out here on RuPaul's Drag Race, especially for a makeover. Like, girl, come on, you just look like you found any damn thing in the closet and put it on. So
Yeah.
I was ready to like toddlers and tiaras, Deja, like be the mom in the audience who was like so unacceptable with her daughter up there, kind of thing.
We were
Like that's
rooting
where
for
my
you. We
emotions
were
was.
all
I was
rooting
like,
for you.
right, right, right. Like this is your moment. Like I never got to have this moment. This is your moment, kind of thing. Like like you're gonna live my dream for me. And Deja was like, I'm gonna throw it all away. And I was like, Deja, I will strangle you right now, bitch.
I will
So
say though, out of all the girls though, I do think she gave her girl the best beat. Like,
yes,
can we
she
talk
can
about
do
that?
makeup really
She
well.
did the best beat for sure. But yeah,
Hmm
the rest of that was just oof, oof.
I want to give you the opportunity to talk about Olivia Lux before I get there. So
Okay, so here's the thing with Olivia. I actually think her makeover is really cute. The concept, I really like the fact that one is a guitar, one's a piano. They do look like sisters. I love the headphones. I think the headphones are really cute here. And I thought actually Olivia does a really good job here. And I actually could have seen a world where she might have been top two if the dresses had like any sort of shape to them whatsoever. I feel like it's just one of those things like when you had Gigi Good when you just have like that one thing you could just know you could just stick on somebody. It doesn't have to have any form or any shape to it. It's just like something that's gonna fit like anybody who's kind of that same size. That's kind of what this feels like to me. But I loved Olivia's girl. Octavia, I feel like was carrying the show between the two, and I do think because she was carrying so hard and kind of overshadowed Olivia for me, I do think that kind of is a little bit of a negative, but it kind of makes me want to go through and do like this whole other podcast where we go through and like rank the makeover partners and do like a fake season of like the best makeover partners because I could literally see her and that guy from like All Stars 9, the firefighter guy,
Oh
and
my
then like
god.
a couple other guys in these things together would be hilarious. Salchicha would love Salchicha,
Oh, sounds good. Would be amazing.
but yeah, I know you're about to tear into her here, but I want to personally give Olivia my personal kudos that I think she did really well, and I think she's had some really good looks actually this season. This might be my least favorite of what she's brought to the runway, but I still think she looks good. I just wish the insides matched the outsides. That's all. That's my only critique.
That's fair. And as an Olivia Lux hater, as I've already stated I was, let me show you the difference between being biased and being honest. Olivia looks good here. I like her hair. I love this. I love this like headphones thing, and I love the nod back to her mini purse that she did on her season. That is very good. The dresses are cute, and I love the matching shoes, and I love that the hair color matches the dress color for each of them, kind of thing, and the
Hmm.
purse as well. I loved all that. Here is the issue with Olivia. She looks so good here. But this is a makeover challenge. This a makeover challenge is also a branding challenge. And this is why Olivia Lux is did so poorly in this challenge for me is I don't know what the brand is. And I also think that obviously we know a mini dress is not going to win you any kind of makeover challenge. Girl, she stuck on a mini dress, laced up her girl's shoes, gave her the little bag, placed the wig on her head and put the headphones on to secure it. Okay, that is what she did for this makeover challenge. There was not much effort in here. As soon as she pulled those dresses out that bag during the actual episode, I knew for a fact she was not winning. I saw that dress, I said, "Olivia, be so fucking for real." Because it was so funny to see the way they did our Irene's is like, "Oh girl, we gotta worry about that because her girl's not gonna like this." And Olivia came out, "Oh, this is so cute." It was like, they did that flip flop thing
Hmm.
where you just know the one is not going to work, but it looks cute or whatever, and the other one is like, that's questionable. I don't think that's going to work, but it does end up working. Olivia Lux her version of was like the opposite of Irene this episode for that, and I just think that it needs to be said that even though Olivia looks good and she did her girl well, and I see the resemblance obviously and everything, I just don't think that this is enough in any capacity for the drag race stage for a makeover because her girl doesn't even really look like she's in that much drag. She kind of just looks like she's going out to the club.
Hmm.
Be real, like she does. Without the headpiece, especially, she's just going to the club.
No, you're
Girl's
right.
just going to the club. And I love the hair. I love the dress and everything. But this is drag, but not drag enough. Like,
Hmm.
and I struggled with making the list this week of like where I put these outfits because this outfit is better than other people's outfits, but it is a worse drag family resemblance like makeover challenge.
I feel like I agreed with one of your points earlier when you said it doesn't really brand her that well. Like I get she does sing, but I don't feel like I know her as like the singing music queen, you know? Like I just don't feel like she's really ever kind of gone in that direction. So I do agree. It is simple, but it's almost simple done right. I just wish the dresses were just a little bit longer, just something more, just a little bit something more to it. But otherwise, I still think Olivia did really well this week. Um, Someone who also I thought did really well. We might as well just go through them all at this point.
Well, we're
Um,
going to.
that I who I liked portions of it, and I dislike other portions of it. And let's just talk about Aja here
Okay.
because I feel like if you just take the wings off, those Party City wings, it's
Oh god,
actually not
no.
that bad. It's actually
It's
not that
the
bad.
wings
But
are not enough to take off. It's not
we need
bad.
to also get rid of the boots because she's wore these boots every freaking week. The
I love the boots.
but like it just I mean I do too. But like I kind of maybe I think you know what would have been amazing if I could just be honest. Had she just
Okay.
stuck with this Pokemon motif the whole entire time? Because you imagine her walking out here as like Minin and plus in or plus
Plus
whatever
one
the other
line
one
in.
in. Yeah. Or
Oh
like
yeah.
or even like a
Oh,
Nido
Nido
King and Nido
Wings.
Queen thing. There's
Yeah.
just so many dark and
There's
light things
gorgeous
she
looking
could have
ones.
done. I mean, even in her coming and going look, she could have done like, what is it, like Solgaleo in the front and Luna La in the, like she could have done so much. And I just
Okay.
feel like her whole package
Lunala.
kind of fell off last week. And
Uh,
then, like, I want to like this more, but these are Halloween costumes. Um, I think Aja's girl is so cute though. Like she was adorable.
Aja's girl definitely looks so much better than Aja does, and I'm gonna tell you one of the first things that the issue is it's partially the fit on this. On the green one, for example, it just looks smaller and a little bit more petite on Aja's body, as it looks a little bit more length on the other girl's body. And I don't know if that's just because of the skirt looking kind of all types of wrinkly and the two folded pieces of fabric in a ball on her breasts. Like I'm not really sure what it is, but you can see how the other girls, like without all that on there, was like given way more fairy princess, something I really liked. And yes, the purple does still kind of look cheap, but Aja's looks like it was cheap clearance bargain bin version of the purple one. Like I'm right.
Right.
And it wasn't even the wings that were the problem. People are trying to focus on these goddamn wings. I'm gonna let you know something. Those wings were not the issue, and you can see as well because the purple one kind of looked like it was just flowy and everything. The green one was flowy without the fan, and it wasn't working. The material was snagging or something. Like it just was not going across as like very fairy and majestic and very light, and flowy. It was going across as crumply and trying too hard to throw it out to make it look flowy. The thing with Aja here is I don't know where she got these outfits from. I don't know who did it. I don't know if she bought it. I don't know. It looks bought off the rack. So if you designed this, don't tell anyone you did. Trust me, you don't want this in your catalog. Uh, but but it was a very good concept with a bad execution, in my opinion. I actually thought the boots were great for this because you could have either done a boot like this, you could have done a strapped up in the green or the purple possibly, or we could have even done something where it was like a silver or something just to tie it in, something not too. It needs to have to be like a big statement like the white boot or something very in the background.
I have a theory. The more I'm looking at this in close up, is the
Okay.
purple dress the way that like it was made, and then she altered the green dress because like looked like the purple. It has like that same like gross skirt thing that Aja has underneath it
Mhm.
too. But like the sleeves are clearly like it feels like it's cut off. Like she cut the sleeves off on there just to make
Uh-huh.
it like the arm thing, and then like she took off the bustier part or whatever the top part is of the corset and put those two fluffy things on it. Like I think that's why Aja's looks so bad is because I think she altered it, and the way she altered it just I don't think it elevated it at all. I think it made it a lot worse.
If anything, what she should have done to elevate this look was take those strands that are like coming off of her wrist kind of area on both of them, attach them to the back, and make sure there's enough material that you can roll like wave your arms around everywhere and really give that like fairy kind of vibe that she was going for. And it just looks elegant. It looks like it's like draping with you. It's very much a drape kind of effect that you want there. And with her corset bustier thing, I need it all pretty much gone and made the exact same way as the girls on top. I would have taken that extra material and just used it as maybe ruffle it just a little bit along the top here just to give the outline more of a definition, also increase the height just slightly, and maybe do the same thing with a ruffling on the bottom of the skirt to give it a bit more character. And also, I need the wrinkles gone, or I need there to be a reason why it is not like well done in this way. And I'm not trying to be mean, but if Aja did that on her green thing, let's be thankful for her there was not a design challenge in this group because oh, but maybe it wasn't her. Maybe it was just the design. My point being, this is, in my opinion, this is a better family resemblance look and more effort put into it than Olivia's. Yet it is much worse executed than Olivia's, right?
Yeah, I felt like I was, at least in my head, I was kind of grading them in three different ways. It was how, like, sort of the performance, not really, but like that was kind of one of it. And then one of it was the actual like family resemblance, then like how good the looks actually look. And she hits on some of them, but not on others. I don't know if anybody other than Irene hit on all three for me, guaranteed. But like, yeah, yeah. I mean, Aja clearly, I don't know if the fashion is, I mean, 100% there, especially when you have someone like Bosco here. But like, I still think it's still fun. I'm still enjoying Aja. So, um, and the last one here. Let's talk about Phoenix because Phoenix goes from her prison honey look to her India Farah versus Phoenix entrance look in season three, and I thought she did a good job. I thought her and Heron, the her girl, looked probably like the
Hmm.
most family resemblance here. But I don't know how I feel
Probably.
necessarily about the outfits. And there was an energy thing that, like I said, like this was the younger sister, so there was just something. I know she was probably clearly very nervous to get out there, but like it
Yeah.
was a little off-putting for me, and I think that when it came down to it, I think she was getting a lot of Phoenix's nerves because Phoenix was clearly also kind of in her head as well too. So I don't know if the confidence part of it really translated for me, but like everything else on paper was good. I just feel like I just liked others more, and I don't know if I necessarily got the exact concept because they didn't use the right ways. Had they used the other ways, I think it would have been better. But I still think she did well. I just think she may have, again, kind of just got overshadowed by other people who were a little bit stronger.
I think with this look specifically, I think Phoenix has a couple things working against her. One, it's black on black with the details, so it's very hard to see any of those details. Like her belt in on her like waist or whatever on her stomach, like that can't really be seen too well. Um, and the full black leg on one versus the black tights on the other. I kind of wish that if we were going to do that, maybe Phoenix had had the same exact material for her gloves on her gloves instead of like, so that way maybe her girl could have had the black on her hands and maybe Bosco had that lace or whatever on her gloves or
We call
whatnot,
her
or on
Bosco.
her arms. Oh, I'm sorry, Phoenix. Um, Whoops, my bad, girl.
Wow.
I just see it as I see this as like somewhere between Olivia and Aja, where it's like the execution is much better, like Olivia's, and the idea isn't as creative as Aja or Olivia's, though. And, or, well, no, I should say the idea is good. The execution's pretty good. It's just there are things that could be done to elevate this look. And when you're dealing with all black, again, the details are hard to see, and it's easier if you make those clear distinctions, like I said with the glove. And then the shoes don't match, and there's just a couple things that are off here or there. I think it was a successful makeover, but it definitely wasn't hitting like the top two. Like there was just light years between Bosco and Irene versus the other four girls, and I don't think that that can come into question. And so that's why I don't think that the performance or anything mattered. And every time they do this goddamn performance on these goddamn makeovers, it never seems to matter. I just don't think it ever has. So fuck that part of it. Like please put more time into your makeovers, girls, because clearly that's what matters. And I just Phoenix did fine, but she ends up somewhere in the middle. Like Deja's the by far the worst. Irene and Bosco are clearly the top two. Aja and Olivia both have these things wrong with them, and then Phoenix is somewhere in there with them, where she's like goodish looks, but not very creative in the sense of like it's nothing too spectacular, but it's also like there's not too many bad things. She talked about the wig being the reference and like had it been done up better nowadays it'd look like this and sure, but it was a great thought process, just an execution for this didn't go over the best way it could have, and she looks good, but again, good versus amazing like Irene and Bosco. It doesn't matter. So we end up with Bosco and Irene as the top two, and I don't think anyone can, even though they're trying to online. Trust me, I've seen the Twitter comments. They're trying to make cases, especially for Olivia, but there's no way in hell that this top two could have gone any other way, in my
Yeah,
mind.
no, I agree. I mean, they didn't even tease a third place on the runway this week on the main stage when they came back. They just went straight to announcing Bosco and Irene as the top two. And yeah, I agree with it as well here too. They end up lip syncing to "Pocketbook" by Jennifer Hudson featuring Ludacris. I've never heard the song before, but it's kind of catchy, actually. What do you think
Yeah.
of this lip sync here?
I was like, okay, so you know how I felt about the last lip sync between Irene and Bosco, and I thought Bosco didn't win that. This time I was like really nervous because I was like, give Irene her goddamn 10,000 motherfucking dollars. Like she's earned it. This is her third time in a row. It was starting to give me that like not as bad as, but like, almost similar to All Stars 8 with Jimbo,
No, it's not
but
that bad.
Irene can clearly lip sync way better than that. Um, I was pleasantly surprised. I felt like Irene definitely won this lip sync for me. I think people were like kind of getting on her about like maybe the dance moves weren't as good, but I mean Bosco was just not really dancing or anything, just kind of walking around the stage for me, trying to give the emotion of the song. But it kind of fell flat for me on her part, and I was entertained because I kept wanting to go see what is Irene doing because my eye kept getting pulled to Irene, and I'm an Irene fan, so like part of that is bias, but I really felt like I wanted to see what Irene was doing and not what Bosco was doing as much. Like Bosco gave a completely good lip sync. I just think a good versus like isn't as good as like entertaining. So I
Hmm.
wanted to see what Irene had. I think it went the exact way it should have. This is fun. Now we've had three different lip sync winners, like, and it's been like a good build up to like what will happen in this next section of the stage. So I loved it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think about halfway through, Irene kind of switched on the comedy, and I think that's when she kind of took it because Bosco was, you're right, she was playing a little bit more kind of serious. And I do think the fact that Irene did kind of pull out a few moves here that we hadn't seen from her before in the couple lip syncs beforehand, I think that definitely secured her the win. And not only is she winning her first lip sync ever here, she's officially leaving Bracket 1 as the number one queen. Or will she? Because we still have our final points ceremony to talk about. And, they bring them back for onto the main stage. And I thought it was very smart that the producers made Aja, Deja, Olivia, and Phoenix write down who they were giving the point to, rather than just have it be the shenanigans where, oh, whoever says it first, ends up being the person
Yeah.
that gets screwed over. So everybody has to make their decision beforehand. I'm looking at you, Olivia, when it comes to having some time to make this decision. So glad that didn't happen here. But when the lipsticks are put down and the mirrors are turned over, points go down as follows. Aja gives her point to Deja. Deja gives her point to Olivia. Shocking, third time in a row.
Right.
Literally, she has 4 points and three of them are from Deja. Now, when it comes down to Olivia, we're all wondering, what's she gonna do? What's she gonna do? And in a moment of redemption, she decides to give her point
Mm,
finally to Aja. Meaning at this point, Deja, Olivia, and Aja are all tied at 4 points, and Phoenix has the last point. Unfortunately, at this point, is not going to get through, but now has the choice to decide if she wants to be the kingmaker and decide who to put through, or to give the point to Bosco out of spite and make the tiebreaker go down to Rue, which we learn here is Rue will be deciding who the tie is between or who gets through if there's a tie between the girls with the most points. So that point, she decides she wants to put the girl through and decides to give her point to Aja, meaning Aja, Bosco, and Irene the alien are officially our first three semifinalists. Jack, do you agree here?
so yes, there is no way anyone can ever tell me that this was the wrong call by Phoenix to give Aja the point. Like you will never hear me say, I mean, as much as I'd love the drama and the mess of it, I think even if she had done that, it would have been Aja going through, unless Rue was trying to pull one over on the girls and just for drama. Because let's be real, the only bitch in there that even earned a win was Aja. So who deserves to go on? Girls that didn't get any wins, or a girl that actually got a win? It was simple. But here's the thing. This is what I loved about this moment. Aja made sure to not give her point to Olivia and give it to Deja. Now, Aja has played a very fair game. She has given to two different people in the Melanin Alliance. Additionally, she can't give her point to Olivia because Olivia is a backstabber, and Olivia can't be trusted. Deja once again gives her points to Olivia. No surprise, that's 3 times in a row, whatever, blah, 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 right? And it was like, so Deja was really not caring so much about the melanin thing as it felt like it was just about giving it to Olivia the whole time because at some point Deja should have given it to Aja, but whatever, I don't care. This is where Olivia had to choose. Would she give her point to Deja once again, and this is the choice, to possibly fuck over who was supposed to be her good Judy Aja from before the show and ruin that friendship forever, or take the first step, and I do say step, and it's not for me to forgive Olivia, it is for Aja and Olivia to have that discussion amongst themselves. So whatever that happens, happens. I think they're good, so I don't think it matters. To having some kind of, I don't want to say redemption because I don't feel like this is a full on redemption thing. It's like the first step of her making things right with Aja. So she gives her point to Aja. So she has now given her point to Deja twice, Aja once. It doesn't feel as bad this time. But Olivia really had to make the decision. Am I going to throw away this friendship just for a slight chance at maybe making it further in the game? Or am I going to throw away this friendship and not even have a chance at all and still throw it away? That's kind of what I think was on Olivia's mind. So that's where I also don't feel like it's a full on redemption thing. Because had she not voted for her and she given the point to Deja, at that point, then with Phoenix's vote for Aja, we would have seen an Aja versus Deja thing going on, which I think is just so interesting. Although I do think that Deja is the easy fourth place out of this group for me. Um, I just think that she made the correct decision for herself if she wants to keep her relationship with Aja and if she doesn't want to come across as wicked and evil as she has before for that. I'm just saying, I don't know. It was giving very snake energy to me in the beginning of this episode. I felt it was very snake. I love that RuPaul made sure that the girls couldn't pull one over on the girls who had to go first though, because that was very fun. So I love the mirror twist. And with Phoenix, I think Phoenix really said, if I have to not go through, I'm gonna make sure the damn best girls go through in my group so at least they know who I lost to for a reason. And so like there was nothing but respect for me from Phoenix because I think Phoenix had played such a honorable like moment here where she said I could give it to Bosco or Irene and just fuck them over, but like let me give to Aja because I think Phoenix saw how Aja had been undirty last round and she had been undirty last round, so it wasn't just her that got did dirty. So I think she felt a couple things like she felt very similar to that and also that Aja is a very deserving person. So I think there was a lot of reasons for her to give it to Aja as opposed to anyone else. So I think it ended exactly how it should have. And with Olivia and Aja's relationship, I don't know. It's not mine to mend, but that is something I couldn't do personally. Like, I feel like Olivia really showed her ass there, and it would take a lot for me if I was in Aja's position to really get past that, just because it felt very slimy from Olivia last time. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm all about forgiveness. It's a game at the end of the day, so it is what it is. But sadly, this means that Deja, Skye, Olivia Lux, and Phoenix have officially been eliminated from the competition. Or have they? Because in one last gag that these producers have to throw in there, we have one last twist. And we're going to kind of get into this in the Reali-Tea segment here today because we discover prior to the grand finale, each judge is going to select one eliminated queen to have their ball placed into the wild card lottery. And randomly, one all star is going to be selected to return to skip the entirety of the competition and go directly to the finale to be part of the lip sync Lollapalooza SmackDown for the crown. Now, in the back of my mind, somewhere deep, just deep within the nether regions, I had a tingling sensation that something stupid was going to get thrown into the mix here because,
Yup.
they can't just leave well enough alone and just have a good concept where they finally, we finally have something good for them. And granted, yes, it's kind of nice someone has a chance to come back. But really, are we really talking about the possibility of, not to shade her at all, but Phoenix having 1 point, randomly coming back into the competition and winning? Like, when I was making the Survivor 38 references to Edge of Extinction here. I did not mean with the editing, I did not mean that for the actual format of the show. Um, and then that throws into question what the hell is this finale actually going to do? How many people are going to be left? Are we going to get to the nine? Are they going to eliminate it down to like six and then a three? And then is someone going to come back for a top four? Are we going to have seven people make it to the finale and one person gets brought back to be eight? I don't understand the format at all for this finale whatsoever. And I'm just very confused. And I don't know if I like this twist. Jack, what are your thoughts here on all this?
So let me start with the twist itself. The way it was worded makes me feel that the girls could be picked out of the original groups or possibly out of the girls that are eliminated during the semifinals, assuming there are girls eliminated in the semis. So I don't have much hope for Phoenix, Deja, or Olivia personally. Not only do they have to be picked by one of the judges, their ball then has to be rigged out of the riggery machine that they use, because you and I both know that at this point when they put the ball in there, unless I see all three balls twirling around during that moment when they're actually picking the ball out kind of thing, I'm not gonna believe shit.
Hmm.
So here's the thing. I don't see any girl that doesn't make it past the first stages really having a chance here. And in my thought of like what will happen 9 episodes in, on the 10th episode the girls come together, and on the 11th episode we get rid of however many or don't, and we have this lip sync Lollapalooza thing. My thoughts on this are, if we are going off of a traditional bracket system, and this is difficult because sometimes we have those three-person lip syncs, which I hope won't happen. My thoughts are there are two ways to do this. A, we eliminate two people. There are 7 spots left now, and we have a tournament bracket of 8 girls, so the wild card pick is the eighth girl spot, right? So then we
Eight
just have
just seems
a
like so much, though.
it does. That's why I don't think this is realistic. My second thought was, what if we go down to 3, which I thought was that's a lot of cuts for two
Hmm.
episodes, right? And I was like, that's too many in my mind. But then we have a fourth person re-enter, maybe the girl who didn't, possibly get into the final 3, and you thought definitely deserved her spot in the final 4. My other thought with that is that, what if the judges can all pick the same girl? Like, what if Michelle and Carson both, like, let's say, I don't know, Aja didn't make it to the top 3, and they both pick her for the top 4 kind of thing, right? Like, is that a possibility that you can put 2 of Aja's ball in the thing instead of 1? I don't know. But my other thought was this: what if instead there's a bracket system where we have like a top 6, but only 5 girls go through, and you're allowing people buys in the bracket based upon their performance? So essentially, it could be like places 3, 4, and 5 all have to lip sync against another girl to get to the semifinals, where 1 and 2 get a buy, and the wild card is a sixth.
Hmm.
And I was like, that's a possibility, right? Because then we're
It
only eliminating
is.
4 girls. But it's also kind of weird because why is the wild card given the same opportunity as the other girls? Unless it is by sure chance that it's going to be one of the girls that got just eliminated in the semifinals. So that's where I'm kind of at this moment of like, would that work? Maybe it would work. Maybe that's the correct way of going about it. And if that is the way we go about it, it seems more likely because six girls moving on to the finale for the lip sync and doing it with a bye for the girls with the most points would A, give each girl the ability to get a bye to go on to the semifinals because they did the best in performance wise, but still force them to at least win two lip syncs to win the crown. And B, would then not so much penalize, but prove that the other girls do need to, uh, you know, kind of, I don't want to say prove themselves more, but don't get the same advantage as that bye, round for the other girls. And I don't know how they're going to do it. It's a tournament. So there are plenty of ways that people have done tournaments. What if we get a Swiss rounds kind of thing? I don't think that'll happen. But like, again, you don't know what's going to happen in a tournament because there are different styles of tournaments.
Mhm, mhm. I actually like the top six idea. That would actually make a lot of sense, kind of like just at least um from just like we have groups of six, right? And then the final group is of six people. That would feel kind of right to some degree, but I still feel like six is a lot, for
It
a
is.
SmackDown. But I kind of feel like, but also, are four lip syncs going to make up an entire episode? No. So I
No.
mean, we could have six. That would make up a whole episode. Um, because that would be what, four or five lip syncs at that point versus like three between the other ones. So I mean, it's
Yeah, you
possible.
have one, two, three, four, five lip syncs in a six person if we're doing it with that. Yeah, so five lip syncs is possible. It's also possible that there may be another twist. Like
No,
what
don't say
if
that. Don't say that.
I know, but don't forget what happened on Espana with the girls voting.
Don't
What
say
if we
that.
saw that, but like a mixture of that and a jury kind of vote for the girls who made it to the semifinals who don't make it? Like that
And
shit
then
is
they vote
crazy.
another girl in. No, just at this point, just don't eliminate anybody and just have all 18 compete for the crown.
I'm just
Done.
saying there's always a chance of some bullshit, some riggery being thrown in. Just be aware that it's always possible.
I mean, you're right. And to be fair, I mean, these have the messy points to begin with, as Aja says here. And, at least at this point, I will say that it's been kind of enjoyable up to this point. Hopefully, they stick the ending. I'm trying not to think that far ahead here. I'm trying to stay here in the moment because literally we're at the point here where we're just now saying goodbye to our first group. And we're going to say hello to a brand new group, Pink Group. And oh my God, if this preview is anything to be just like setting the tone for Pink, oh, I feel bad for all of them because Mistress is about to run mind games around them all. And let's be real here as well too. I'm sure if for whatever reason Georges gets eliminated in the early round, all the judges are just gonna vote, and Rue's gonna rig to bring her back for the lip sync finale here. Worst
Well,
case scenario, Georges makes, or best case scenario, Georges makes it through. Worst case scenario, Georges is our wild card lottery pick. Naming it now. Do you have any final thoughts here, Jack, as we say goodbye to Orange and hello to Pink in the next week?
I do want to talk about how I think this lip sync Lollapalooza is an interesting concept, and it kind of makes me a little worried for anyone who is not a season 14 girl because it was a season 14 thing, and therefore I do think it would come between Georges and Bosco specifically, since Georges, she won her first round and was known as the lip sync assassin. Bosco barely made it through on her season, but wouldn't that be such an interesting arc for her to then win a lip sync Lollapalooza kind of elimination order? I don't know.
I can see that happening too.
I could
I
see a stunt.
mean,
I'm worried, but I
golden
will
chocolate
say,
bars.
right, exactly. I will say I'm really acceptable, or not acceptable, sorry. I'm really excited for next week's ball challenge, the 8 ball. Like, this sounds so much fun. First of all, I think every group of girls should have had a ball because I think that's a much better design challenge concept than a fucking makeover trash design thing.
Mhm.
But also, like, I think it really just shows girls. It's similar to the makeover in the sense of, do you know what a good design looks like on different body types? Do you know what's actually going on? So sure, there's a lot of different like choices and skills that you can see, but I am interested. I want to see. I want to know what the girls know about designing and styling. So I'm excited. I hope we get an amazing ball. I can't wait to see all 18 looks next episode. I hope we don't have a shitty one like a swimsuit, but a girl can dream for her favorite things, and mine is the ball.
I mean, I don't know if this is necessarily the group I would want a ball from. I think I would want a ball from even purple or so than pink.
Uh,
But
I
I'm
think
gonna be
that
open. We'll be open minded.
yeah, that's probably true, but it's scary to think
Right.
about.
Well, as always, I can't wait to see how all this turns out. And hopefully y'all can't either if y'all made it this far. Thank you again for listening and make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and comment below because we'd love to hear your thoughts on the season. And until next time, and on behalf of my co-caster, QuackrrJack, this is Renegayde signing out. But remember, keep spilling that tea, y'all. Bye!
Bye.